Welcome back and moving on to our first segment of today. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi attended on Wednesday a ceremony held to celebrate Egyptian Women Day and of course honoring some of the ideal or role model women who played a crucial role in different domains. Well, of course many other topics were discussed within the framework of this important event, but first allow me to welcome our guest for today, Dr. Youmn Hamaki, Professor of Economics at Shams University. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
Doctor, let's start by talking about the significance of this important event and honoring all the ideal role models in the site.
You know, this is admission from, and political support for women in Egypt that took part actually several years ago, and praising women and the role of women in the society. No economy can be advanced or progressed without active participation of women, and it is an opportunity to shed light on the role of women in the society in Egypt. Still, as we mentioned several times before, the participation of women in economic life is still minimal compared in Egypt compared to other countries, and from here it comes the importance of economic empowerment of women. This may address several challenges confronting Egypt nowadays, like combating poverty, like enhancing GDP growth, small business, achieving more equality of income distribution. So all these goals can be, achieved with active participation of women. And the message that has been delivered yesterday actually is going towards such, goal, which is, the women, Egyptian women should participate in our life more actively in different dimension, and from here it comes the importance of such event.
And the Egyptian leadership actually put it as a top priority when it comes to women empowerment in all Egypt.
Yes, and what our president has delivered as a message is that, knowing such facts, it needs from us to address the challenges confronting women, Egyptian women, to participate effectively. And from here it comes that his speech addressed, several of these obstacles and proposed some, solutions towards how we can, address these challenges properly, so that to enable women to participate more, actively.
Actually, due to all the economic challenges that we face, of course, not only in Egypt, but all over the world now, the president also in his speech directed some of the important notes for Egyptian women when it comes to the economic challenges now.
So, we have actually nowadays severe challenges, economic challenges specifically, because, we have managed to address coronavirus successfully. We were about to achieve more than 6% rate of growth, and then coronavirus came to, affect such, achieving such goal. And then when we manage properly to address corona, Russia-Ukraine war came suddenly, to affect our possibility for achieving such rate of growth, since nowadays, value chain has been disrupted, prices of energy has increased significantly, other materials, and then international trade has been affected seriously. All this is having severe repercussions on the Egyptian economy, and this pushed us to have another, like flotation for our Egyptian pound. And from here it comes that when we have a devaluation of the Egyptian pound, more inflation coming, and families are affected seriously, despite all the measures that have been taken by government in order to alleviate the impact of such flotation or rectifying exchange rate policy. Despite all these measures, still, we need a lot of action. We have to benefit from such lesson. Number one, not to rely on foreign indirect investment. We as economists, we call that the hot money. So you cannot refer in your economy in hot money. And actually, last year, despite that we exerted efforts toward improving the competitiveness of our export, towards, enhancing potentialities of tourism, and tourism started to gain, after Corona. Despite all these efforts, still we have severe challenges to address structural reform in Egypt. We need to enhance competitiveness in our industrial sector. We cannot just export $34 billion. Our economy can be capable to arrive to our goal nowadays of $100 billion quite easy, but still policies, still bureaucracy, still corruption, all these can be represented as major obstacles preventing us from achieving such goals. So maybe we can start. We have a lot of potentialities regarding the mega project enabled us nowadays to, extend our potentialities for economic reform and diversifying our economy. Still, our industrial sector is still relying on importation to a large extent, and you cannot do that with improving the competitiveness. So you have to enhance the potentialities of local contents. And maybe Corona and COVID-19 and this war may shed the light on most countries of the world. Globalization has been changed completely nowadays. Why? Because all countries nowadays are looking to just an internal point of view, which means how to not to be quite relying on other countries. The globalization nowadays is changing in its perception towards how to cooperate on a regional basis rather than international basis. When you have this significant increase of transportation cost, this may increase severely your potentiality for competition. And from here it comes that most countries of the world have changed their policies toward more regionalism, which means that this may enable us to reduce cost of production and enhance potentialities within the region. And with this political, challenges confronting nowadays the world economy, even what has been declared yesterday from President Putin that he is going to take, the price of gas with ruble, using ruble. This nowadays has been added to the challenges regarding the superiority of dollar and to how extent cryptocurrencies can, change the monetary system internationally. And from here it comes, these challenges should be taken into our consideration so that we can manage how to address the world economy, what are the challenges. And first of all, you have to use your resources internally efficiently enough.
Doctor, as we mentioned, the inflation in the beginning, of course, and we have seen that the Egyptian leadership, again, putting priority when it comes to the prices of the basic commodities. And we have many initiatives. Of course, we have that 22nd phase of we are all one, or as we call it in Arabic, كلنا واحد. Yes. And of course, this is very, very important because this is going to help and support citizens, especially those of low income, because as you mentioned, prices, the hiking prices and all these things, and we are approaching the holy month of Ramadan.
Consumption.
So, yes.
Skyrocketing, yes.
So, of course, this is of great importance. Tell us more about how can this initiative help in this respect?
This initiative is quite important, Nashwa. Why? Because we can consider the Egyptian market is not efficient enough. When we define as economists how can we define the efficiency of the market, there are several conditions to specify the efficiency of the market. Number one is about access to the market. Still, we have barriers for several producers to have access to the market. Still, we don't have a valid and strong law to combat monopoly. You know, our law is still just trying to manage, and the mechanism, the power of the organization and institution responsible of that is not enough to perform effectively. And from here it comes that you don't have quite information about the market. And this is the importance of such initiatives. When you mention that we are spreading outlets, we are trying to increase the supply in the market, we are trying to reduce the cost, because you know you have a very large spread between the producer and retailers. And you know, from here it comes that when you have these initiatives, this may help a lot to you know, enhance the efficiency of the market for the middle class and the poor people, so that they can find opportunity. But still, in order to increase the efficiency of the market, which is, it should be the medium and long-term goal for us, we have to address monopoly. We have to increase the role of SMEs, you know, because they can play a significant role towards, you know, supply, to enhance supply in the market, and the productive capacity of the informal sector can be enhanced significantly if we succeed to address properly the informal sector. It's not just by mentioning that you are going to pay, you know, a lump sum of tax, very minimal, and at the same time you are going to pay a lot of costs regarding procedures, and in order to transfer from informal to formal, a lot of costs for these informal sectors that they cannot address it properly. And from here it comes that you have to study quite well what are their problems, the real problems, and to address such problems so that to encourage them to transfer from the informal into formal sector. When you do that, this sector is going to be under, you know, it's going to be quite transparent for the market, and you can guarantee that they are going to participate in the supply side, and at the same time they are going to increase their income, open more opportunities for labor to, you know, recruit labor. And this is repercussions of such transformation, and we have to study this quite well, because we kept for several years saying that we want to you know, transfer the informal into formal. Still, all what we are talking about, we are not quite successful towards achieving such goal. And this is quite important.
Doctor, also there is the Tahwisha app that targeted the rural areas women. And this is another important part, just helping them if they want, because you mentioned the SMEs, if we're talking about here in this respect, talking about some loans for women in rural areas, of course this will help in more inclusion.
Of course, you know, these mechanisms are quite important, and when you use technology, and I believe, according to my experiences, because I have several projects in rural areas and in Upper Egypt, these experiences can play significant role towards enhancing quality of life for women in all, you know, governorates. Still, it's lacking something very important, which is what are the type of project women can go towards. It's not just by transferring money, because we are using transferring money in a very bad way, which means that all the time money is going towards consumption. We are borrowing and moving towards more consumption, and most of what we are consuming are imported. You know, imagine. Yes. So sometimes when you cannot have you know, a comprehensive planning for what you are doing, it will have negative repercussions. So first of all, in order to benefit quite well of such mechanism, we need to you know, specify some productive projects. How women can be a part of such productive how you upgrade their skills so that to be capable to use such tools and mechanisms, and then how these women can be integrated into the system, into the economic system, which means that if they are going to have to produce as feeding industries and part of what the government is doing. So this is the missing part of the whole picture that we always neglect, and at the same time it's not leading to the main goals we are planning for. And I believe that for such very important tahwisha, it's a very creative mechanism to be used to support women, but without having a plan towards how to direct such mechanism toward productive, enhancing income, not just by letting women borrowing and for consumption reasons, and then at the end they are being kept in debt and just trying to address such debt. So this is quite important regarding what we are doing, and we are missing the major point all the time towards improving the quality and the situation of women. So I hope that for tahwisha this should be taken into consideration.
So talking about all these initiatives, first of all, targeting women. And this is the most important part, because we talked in the beginning about women empowerment, like Takaful Mukarama, for example. Yes. This is another one targeting women. So if we're talking about how to take the best out of all these initiatives, especially when it comes to women,
I believe that, first of all, you have to categorize women, because, yes, this is why we are categorizing women, because sometimes you are going to find regarding the educational level, regarding, traditions and in several areas, because traditions in Upper Egypt differ than in other areas, and then specify their needs. And this is gender, actually. When you take gender into consideration, you are taking into consideration the situation of women and what is relevant for them, which means that to how extent you can develop tailored programs to fit their needs. And you have to ask what, from my experience, when we have such training programs for women to upgrade their skills, you have to know what is the time suitable for women. We are having this program from 8 o'clock in the morning till 2, for example. Why? Because this is the time of school for their children, or nursing. So they, they don't have any other ways to put their children in, and this enables them to go to the training. So this is the gender perspective. So I believe that taking gender into consideration is the answer. How to tailor program to be suitable and to monitor the results. It's not just by mentioning we are going to upgrade skills, you are going to have training programs. What are the results of such training program, and to how extent these training programs have led women towards building their capabilities, enable them to start their own business, to work from home, because several women, they prefer working from home. So how to find mechanisms to support them working from home. So how to differentiate, mechanism to cope with the needs of women. This is quite important for Egyptian women, and this is actually the main obstacle preventing Egyptian women from being integrated into economic life.
Right. Dr. Youmn Hamaki, Professor of Economics at Shams University, of course, always a pleasure having you with us on the show. Right, with this we come to the end of our first segment, but still we have more to bring you on the breakfast show. So first, moving on to a quick break, then we'll be back.